Hi, I'm here with the poem Patriot, written by Robert Browning. The poem has got three themes. The first theme, rise and fall in glory. And where do you see it? We see it in the first three stanzas that the patriot is rising at the zenith of his glory. And the other three stanzas, rather 2.5 stanza exactly, shows the fall of the patriot. Now this rise and fall of glory of the patriot is visible clearly throughout the poem. Next theme is fickleness, or what we may call as fickle-mindedness of people. That's the other theme in the poem. How people, they worship their heroes. That is one thing. And next, the same person, if does some mistake, how immediately the people's mind change. So previously the patriot is, welcomed in the city like a hero, and then we see the same person is dragged to the shambles gate, to the scaffold to be executed. So that is the changing mind of the people, fickleness of people. That is the second theme. And third, towards the end of the poem, we notice a third theme there. And that shows how optimistic the person is about his life. That is, the third theme is faith in God. Now let us talk about the poem. There were roses, roses all the way, with myrtle mixed like mad. So it is that experience of the patriot. And what is his experience like? He is entering into the city. He is walking on the path. And then what he finds in his path, scattered, pell-mell, mixed like mad, not in an arranged manner, roses and also the tiny, sweet-smelling myrtle flowers. Here, we have symbolism used here, metaphor. So what is the metaphorical value of roses and what is the metaphorical value of myrtle flowers? Roses are a symbol of love of the people for the patriot, while myrtle, that is used in offerings to gods, shows the respect for the patriot. So it is love and respect symbolized through the roses and the myrtle flowers scattered in the path of the patriot. Next, what do we see? That the house rooftops, they seem to be swaying, heave and sway. Now it seems as if houses, they are like people, human beings. So there is a personification, we can say, a personification of the houses who seem to heave and sway. Actually, they are so full of people. The crowd is there on the rooftops and they are like mad in trying to welcome the patriot. So in that frenzy, in that madness, those people, they are waving at the patriot, they are shouting, and it seems as if the houses themselves, they are swaying to and fro. Next, the church spires, that is the pyramidal shape, the arch of the churches, they have fixed so bright colored flags on that, it seems as if they are set on fire. So the bright color again symbolizes joy and happiness of the people that they feel in welcoming the patriot. This all happened just a year ago. So the patriot here recalls what happened a year ago. The next stanza, we are talking about the church bells. The church bells, they are rung. The sharp and shrill sound of the church bell seem to be tearing through the air. और ऐसा लगता है मानो हवा को चीर के उसने उसको change कर दिया हो. It is changed into a mist. So the air molecules seem to have torn apart by the sharp sound of the bells, and that air is converted into a mist. And then the old walls, because of the loud applauses and the crowd, they seem to be vibrating, they are rocking. The old walls are rocking. It is a time that the Patriot says if I had called out the people, addressing them as good folks and told them mere noise repels, there is a lot of noise, all would have been quiet to listen to him. And then he says, if I had asked them. He did not ask, if I had asked them. So if I had asked them, give me your son from yonder sky. So give me your son. Son here symbolizes life. So if you had even asked them the most important thing, their life, their power, their happiness, in form of the sun, in that part of the sky, the people in return, they would have told, what else do you want? So such was the glory which the Patriot enjoyed exactly a year ago. Now this one is that part, the beautiful part of the life of the Patriot. Friends, this poem, the Patriot is the narrator. He is telling us his own story, the story of his rise and now fall. So it is written in dramatic monologue, and it is also composed in the first person account, because the person who is experiencing all this is sharing it with us. So that is first person account. And second, dramatic monologue, because the Patriot only speaks and no one else responds to that. So that becomes monologue, not a dialogue, dramatic monologue. After this, what happens? The Patriot says, alack, it was I who leaped at the sun. It was I who leaped at the sun, which means what? Leaping at the sun can be an exaggeration, a hyperbole. But this is actually an allusion, a reference of a story, an old story, a legend. So he says, it was I who leaped at the sun. Meaning of this is that he tried to take up or complete one impossible like task, but failed. So what is the story? Let us understand that very quickly. There was one person, Icarus. This Icarus had wings made of wax and feathers, which enabled him to fly very high. So he became ambitious, and that ambition made him think that he could reach to the sun. And so he flew higher and higher. He forgot what may happen. The heat of the sun melted the wax, and Icarus fell down into the sea and drowned and died. Now, how is it similar to the Patriot? He also became ambitious and he failed in that. So, alack means regretting. Alas, it was I who leaped at the sun. But then the Patriot immediately says, but my wish was something great, because I wanted to bring the sun down to give it to my friends to keep with them. So I wanted to bring what? Power, more life, more happiness for my own people, for my own countrymen. But then what happens? He had done so much that no other man could do. Not man could do. I did so much. That is what Patriot says. But you see what in return the Patriot gets. He says, you see the harvest that I reap, means you see the reward that I achieve, that I obtain. And it is no reward, of course. Exactly when 1 year is over. So it was just 1 year ago that he was welcomed in his city by his people like a hero, and exactly 1 year after, what reward is he reaping? He is telling us this. He says there is no one on the house rooftops today. Again, he is walking on the same path. But there is no one on the house rooftops today. And the Patriot thinks he knows where those people are. But he says, right now what he can see is on the windows, only a palsied few have set themselves for a better view. So some few paralyzed people who cannot walk out, they have set themselves at their windows just to have a look at the Patriot passing by. And where are the others? All the rest of them, those who could, they have gone to the shambles gate, and a large enclosed area. And there is a scaffold, that's a platform, where criminals or culprits, they are executed. So all the people, they might have gathered at the shambles gate, And even to have a better view of him being executed, those people might have set themselves below the scaffold, that is scaffold's foot. Now the patriot thinks that people they have gathered there. The patriot then says, I walk in the rain. So he goes in the rain. Now what does it mean? Rain washing away his glory. See the contrast? The sun was bright that day, a year ago. Now it is raining. That seems to be washing away his glory. I walk in the rain. And his hands, they are tied behind him. And he says that the rope seems to be more tight than it is needed. Tighter than needed. It seems to be cutting at his wrists. The rope seems to be cutting at his wrists. And the patriot is walking there. He feels that his forehead is bleeding. He cannot see the blood, but he feels that his forehead is bleeding. Why? Because whoever had a wish, whoever wanted, had thrown stones at him for the past year's misdeeds. For this entire year which has gone by, at that time he has faced some failures and people consider it as his misdeeds. They have considered him a traitor who has betrayed his country, and therefore they are taking him to the gallows to be executed. So this is sad. He is taken to the gallows now. People are throwing stones at him. So there is a use of contrasting imagery, my dear friends. The poet shows the glory of the patriot, roses, roses all the way, with myrtles mixed like mad. And now, what do we see? Throwing stones at him. And his forehead is bleeding. And his hands tied. He is walking in the rain. Now what? He says that, thus I go. Thus I enter, thus I go. So it is in this manner he entered into the city 1 year ago in all glory, with all respect and honor, and it is in this manner that he goes today, having lost all that glory, considered a traitor. And one more time, he tries to justify himself. He says in triumphs, people, they have dropped down dead. There is nothing new in every attempt of victory. There will be some loss of lives. People should understand that, but they don't. And then he says, God might ask me, you are paid by the world, what do you expect from me? Your people, they have rewarded you. That definitely is unjust. Because the patriot had all the willingness, had all the feelings for his people, to achieve something for his people. Only that he had become overambitious and he failed. Doesn't mean that he is a traitor. But then, this is how he is rewarded by his own people. He says, I will not answer this question. God shall repay. It is God who shall repay. So he shows his faith here in God. He says when he dies in the other world, he will get his genuine reward for what he did in the life, with what purpose he did. He never wanted to harm anyone. He wanted to do good to them. So it is God who will do justice with him and reward him appropriately. And just the moment he thinks so, he says, I am safer so. His mind is calm and peaceful. So this is showing the faith of the patriot in God Almighty. Hope you liked it. If you liked, obviously press the like button, subscribe the channel, press the bell icon. Thank you. See you again.